Today, we will explore an action-packed thriller film titled Safe House. Enjoy the recap. The film opens in Cape Town, South Africa, featuring a guy named Matt Weston. He's a CIA safe housekeeper, ensuring the lights stay on and the doors are secure at a covert CIA location. He has a partner named Anna, but is keeping her in the dark regarding his actual job. Weston feels constrained in his safe house position after a year in the role. He contacts his boss, David, to express his frustrations and asks for a posting in Paris. Why Paris? That's where Anna intends to move, and he wants to accompany her. Switching scenes, we meet Tobin Frost, a former CIA ace who's gone rogue. He meets Alec, an MI6 officer who hands him a device with sensitive intel. Suddenly, mercenaries attack, but Frost fights them off and escapes. Frost and Alec attempt to evade the mercs, but they take out Alec and Frost slips away. Frost navigates through a protest and enters the US consulate to escape. He declares himself Rogue Agent Tobin Frost. The CIA, led by Whitford, locks down the consulate and plans to interrogate Frost. Back to Matt Weston, his phone rings. A high-priority target is en route. Weston prepares the safe house for the interrogation. As night falls, a team led by Daniel Kiefer arrives with Frost. They interrogate Frost, but he remains tight-lipped. Suddenly, mercenaries crash the safe house, leading to a shootout. Weston, the last man standing, decides to protect Frost. He cuffs Frost and tosses him into the trunk of a car. A high-stakes car chase ensues between Weston and the mercenaries. Weston contacts the agency, revealing the safe house breach and his escape with Frost. They instruct him not to take Frost to the consulate and to keep a close watch on him.
Weston evades his pursuers. Frost, however, manages to escape from the trunk, resulting in a struggle between him and Weston. This leads to a crash, but Weston, ever the survivor, hauls himself out of the wreck and points a gun at Frost. Back at CIA HQ, Whitford is calling the shots. He sends a tactical team to South Africa to retrieve Weston and Frost, but David complicates things, stating it'll take a staggering 18 hours before the team arrives. For now, Weston is their only operative on the ground. Meanwhile, as Weston drives Frost to a new hideout, Frost begins to talk. He reveals his former CIA status and plays mind games with Weston, making him question his loyalty and his superiors. He drops a bombshell, suggesting the safe house breach was an inside job. After all, it was meant to be secure. Frost cautions Weston that the agency can't be trusted and that they'll abandon him when things get tough. Back at the CIA, the intrigue deepens. Whitford suspects a mole within their ranks. He demands all the dirt, background details, affiliations, everything on any agent connected to Frost's case. Now, as Weston and Frost arrive at a hotel, Weston calls his girlfriend Anna. He's back with another excuse, this time claiming their apartment is about to be monitored, and she needs to lay low. Meanwhile, Frost, with his spy training, is eavesdropping. Once Weston hangs up, Frost assumes the role of relationship expert, telling him that lies and secrets are no basis for love. He warns Weston that the truth always surfaces eventually, and that it will only lead to heartbreak. Weston isn't buying it. He retorts, stating he's not Frost, and his story won't have a tragic conclusion like his. During a call with David, Weston discovers he's on his own for another 12 hours. A new safe house is set for him, but it's not within the country. Weston's tasked head to a stadium and retrieve a GPS device from a go bag, which will guide him to the new hideout. Weston takes Frost to the stadium, but just as he has the GPS device in hand, Frost changes the game. He creates a scene, shouting that Weston is there to abduct him. This attracts the attention of local authorities, who detain Weston. He attempts to explain that Frost is a major criminal and that he's on a CIA mission to capture him, but they don't believe it. So, Weston goes on the attack, manages to escape from the police, and rushes after Frost. But just as he thinks he's trapped Frost, a security guard intervenes. In the ensuing standoff, Weston shoots a guard and then pursues Frost, only to walk straight into a trap. Frost gets the upper hand but then spares his life, stating he only targets professionals. Now a fugitive, Weston makes his way to a phone booth and contacts the agency, informing them he lost Frost during the stadium chaos. Whitford instructs him to stand down. The agency is taking control from here. Feeling trapped, Weston heads to a train station to meet Anna, who's en route to Paris. He comes clean about his true occupation, confessing he's a CIA agent, not the clinic worker he pretended to be, and is furious, feeling betrayed by his web of deceit. Weston urges her to leave the country, revealing his concerns for her safety. After she's safely on her way, he goes to a local internet cafe, determined to track down Frost using the CIA database. But the CIA is monitoring. They catch on to Weston's online activities. Whitford sends David and Linklater to South Africa to apprehend Frost. Meanwhile, Frost visits his old friend Carlos, and the small talk is short-lived as they quickly delve into the intriguing details. Top secret info the agency has been concealing. Carlos, a master forger, equips Frost with a new passport and papers. He advises Frost to abandon the perilous spy lifestyle, but Frost simply shrugs it off, assuring Carlos he has everything under control. But as if on cue, those pesky mercenaries storm into Carlos's residence. Weston has just located Frost when the turmoil erupts. Carlos's family becomes collateral damage, and Carlos himself is next. Frost executes a daring escape across the rooftops, but the gunmen pursue him relentlessly. In a surprising twist, Weston swoops in, playing the hero. He uses a truck to facilitate Frost's getaway, but the mercenaries are close behind. They damage the escape vehicle, forcing Frost and Weston to flee on foot. It's an unanticipated alliance in the face of danger. The two unlikely partners barricade themselves in a building, successfully ambushing one of the pursuing gunmen, but it's not without a price. Frost takes a bullet. Weston, fueled by adrenaline, interrogates the mercenary. The merc spills the beans, revealing they're working for a guy named Vargas, who's colluding with the CIA. Their mission? To retrieve a device from Frost. As all this unfolds, David and Linklater land in South Africa, dividing up to cover more ground in their hunt for Frost. Meanwhile, Weston brings Frost to a nearby pharmacy to treat his wound. As he's tending to the injury, Frost shares some seasoned wisdom: never harm the innocent. He recounts his haunting experience of having to take down an air traffic controller. In the meantime, Linklater's suspicions are raised. She tells David she thinks Weston is assisting Frost, but David remains skeptical. He defends Weston, believing that if he were with Frost, he would have brought him to the safe house. So David and Linklater agree to meet at the old safe house. Weston, hearing the communication, brings Frost to their new hideout. Upon arrival, he holds the housekeeper Keller at gunpoint, instructing him to notify the agency of Frost's presence. Meanwhile, Linklater and David come together, and things take a dark turn. Linklater reveals the details about Frost's top-secret file containing incriminating evidence against various agencies. When David realizes she knows about the micro-device, he pulls the trigger on her without hesitation. Back at the safe house, Weston and Keller are engaged in a deep conversation about their housekeeping responsibilities when Keller suddenly turns the tables. The two engage in a fierce struggle, with Keller managing to stab Weston. But Weston refuses to go down easily. He overpowers Keller and ends him. Bleeding and weakened, Weston crawls over to Frost, pressing him about the contents of that file. Frost admits it contains crucial intel on some extremely corrupt agencies. With this information, Weston decides to free Frost from his handcuffs. But instead of showing gratitude, Frost leaves Weston to bleed out and escapes the safe house, leaving Weston to pass out. Weston's eyes flicker open to find none other than David Barlow beside him. The pieces of the puzzle fall into place for Weston. David is in league with Vargas. David reveals that the file holds damaging secrets about high-ranking officials, and he's determined to keep it from being exposed. He instructs Weston to fabricate a false account of everything that transpired, promising safety. But suddenly, Frost reappears, eliminating all of Vargas's men. However, he isn't quick enough to avoid a bullet from David. Still clinging to life, Weston grabs his gun and takes out David with his remaining strength. He crawls to the injured Frost. Frost, with his dying breath, hands the drive over to Weston. He urges him to be a better person, to do what's right. With those last words, Frost fades away, leaving Weston shaken by the events. The scene shifts back to CIA headquarters. Weston is there to recount the events in South Africa to Whitford, but Whitford, eager to prevent any agency scandals, insists that Weston should fabricate a story about what occurred. But Whitford questions Weston, asking him about the existence of any file handed over by Frost. Weston remains composed, denying all knowledge of it. Whitford warns him of the dangers of possessing such a file, but Weston, driven by purpose, remains resolute and keeps the file, exiting the agency's sacred halls. Weston resolves it's time for the world to learn the truth. He makes the bold choice to upload the file for public access, unveiling corruption among various intelligence personnel, including his own superiors at the CIA. The cat is officially out of the bag. Weston then journeys to Paris, where he spots Anna. He observes her from a distance, a smile of satisfaction crossing his face, knowing she's safe and secure.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more movie recaps.